Here we are again. Back again with another movie review. This time, Mission Impossible. The Final Boner. The Final Reckoning. Previously known as Dead Reckoning Part 2. So let's just get into this. Let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. First, the good. Let's start by talking about the cast. To me, every member of the cast brought it in terms of their acting ability. My favorite was the Asian girl. She was a favorite of mine from the last movie, so to see her in this movie, to turn good, and to help Ethan Hunt's team, it just really worked for me. And I also like the callbacks of the older agent, the one that was from the very first Mission Impossible movie. I thought that was a good idea. I thought it worked for the movie. And I enjoyed his character as well. Also, the fight choreography was good. I don't think there's been a Mission Impossible movie where the fight choreography was bad. So, I mean, this is just standard for the franchise. Really good fights, really good action scenes, and let's just mention the stunts. I mean, the scale that was portrayed in these movies, they always get it right. It always just feels larger than life, especially that submarine scene. It was just perfect. A great mixture of practical effects and also CGI. I mean, just in general, anything involving movie making was done exceptionally well. The cinematography, the dialogue, except for a few lines that's to me felt corny, but for the most part, it all worked for me. It all was great. And like I said, that's just a standard for the franchise. That's what you expect to see when you go to watch a Mission Impossible film. And like I said before, I enjoyed the callbacks, especially Rabbit's Foot. I thought that was good. I thought, even though obviously it's a retcon, I feel like they made it work for what they needed it to be. And yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the good. I mean, what else can you say? Everything with the cast, everything with the fight scenes, even the story, I would say was good. I mean, it was cliche and predictable for a Mission Impossible film. We'll get into that with the ugly, but I thought that the story was good enough for what we needed, you know? Next, we have the bad. As I mentioned before, Gabriel, the character of Gabriel, the villain character, it didn't work for me. He just came off as really cartoony. His dialogue felt very corny, like especially at the end where he's like, "Catch me if you can." Ethan, like, almost all his one-liners in this movie felt just corny. I will admit though, in the first Final Reckoning, the Dead Reckoning Part 1, I thought his character was much better. The dialogue was much better. It's just like in this one, he came off super corny and cartoony. I have no idea what happened. Maybe they thought he was way too subdued in the first part, so they told him to liven up the character, but for me, it just did not work. And also, of course, spoilers. You already know this. The movie's been out 3 months already, 2 months, whatever. To me, also with the bad was Luther's death. To me, it wasn't much explanation of why he got sick. I guess we're supposed to assume that he just worked himself to death, creating the, what was it called? The pill or whatever it was, the virus that was supposed to attack the entity. But to me, it just didn't work. I feel like we needed more explanation there of why he got sick. It just felt so rushed. Like in the first part, he's perfectly fine at the end, and then as soon as you open up in this movie, he's on his deathbed. And the whole, like I said, his whole death scene, it just didn't work for me. You know, Gabriel, he kills the nurse. So Luther wakes up, he's like, "Damn, where my sandwich at, bitch?" He goes downstairs and there's just a perfectly created jail cell there with the perfect dimensions for a nuclear bomb that Gabriel and his henchmen put there. And it just came off as super corny and just way too convenient in my opinion. I feel like Luther deserved a much more what's the word I'm looking for? A much more tangible death, you know? Like even Rebecca Ferguson's character, it felt like was a better death in my opinion. It just felt way too convenient for me. And so yeah, I realized Luther probably wanted to leave the franchise. Honestly, he needed to because he can't really do well in action scenes. You could tell the actor can't really move well anymore. So he honestly needed to get out of the franchise, but I think it should have been done better. However, I will put this in the good category. I did like his send-off at the end, his little speech that he had for Ethan at the end. I thought that was well done. Even though his actual death wasn't executed well, the send-off was executed perfectly, in my opinion. And now we get to the ugly. Really wasn't much ugly here. I mean, the movie was good. The only ugly I would say is the stakes and Mission Impossible fatigue. To me, those go hand in hand. You have this fatigue right now where it's like, we already know Ethan Hunt's going to get the job done. No matter how impossible the mission is, he's going to complete the mission. So to me, that's the ugly part of the franchise as a whole, is that there's no stakes anymore. You know he's going to make it. I mean, at least in part one, you had Rebecca Ferguson's character die, so it was like, oh, any one of these guys could die. But then you get to this movie, and the only one that dies is Luther. Like, in my opinion, someone that was a part of the team should have died, because it would have raised the stakes, and it would have made it feel like it was an actual impossible mission to complete. But nobody dies. I mean, I guess Benji got close to dying. That was well done. I'll put that back in the good part. The whole little scene with Benji and his lung collapsing, and the Asian girl had to help him, help his chest cavity from collapsing inwards. I'll put that in the good, but everything else, it just felt way too convenient. You know, I think in order to fix the franchise, you don't really need to fix it, but if you want to go forward, they need to go back to a Mission Impossible 1 style of movie, where it's a spy thriller, and it's gritty, and it's grounded. You don't have too many stunts anymore. You either do that, or you make Ethan Hunt evil. You make the AI, the entity, influence him too much. He turns evil. He starts doing all these impossible stunts, but you invert it because he's a villain now. And then you have the Mission Impossible team try to stop him. Maybe some people die. Maybe some people get close, but it's Ethan Hunt, man. You can't beat him, you know? Something of that nature. But for me, the movie really worked. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I won't go any higher because I think the first part was much better. And also, I think it was too long. I feel like they could have cut out some scenes that felt kind of worthless, in my opinion. Overall, I give it a 7 out of 10. Great stunts, decent story, but in the end, no stakes. You already knew Ethan Hunt was going to do it. And what's crazy is, this movie probably flopped the hardest, but it probably was the best summer blockbuster. It was better than Jurassic World. It was better than Superman. I haven't seen Fantastic Four, so I don't know about that, but it was the best summer blockbuster. And it made the least amount of money. So it's not like people want good storytelling anymore. They just want a bunch of bullshit, basically. That's why I'm surprised this movie flopped so hard. It's just a crew of characters going and doing different action scenes, but it's well done. I'm surprised people didn't go and watch it more. But see, that goes back to the Mission Impossible fatigue. We've already seen everything before. We've already seen every stunt we can do. Even in the end, with the helicopter scene. Sorry, the airplane scene. That was a direct copy of the Fallout scene, where he was chasing Henry Cavill in the helicopter, except this time it was an airplane. Or the scene where he escapes the submarine and has to be revived. We've already seen that in Rogue Nation, when he had to go down in that server room that was underneath water. Then he came up and died and had to be revived again. So we've already seen everything. We've seen car chases, motorcycle chases. I mean, what else can you do, man? That's probably why it flopped, but I still give it a 7 out of 10. Probably was the best summer blockbuster of the year so far. So yeah, go check it out. In fact, have a marathon. Watch the first part, then watch the second part. It's even better that way. And one last thing before I leave. If they bring back Tom Cruise and they go with this whole action stunt movie bullshit they've been doing for the past 2 or 3 movies, I guarantee you they're going to go in space and have Ethan Hunt do some crazy stunt while he's supposed to be in space. It's probably going to be cool. Very cool. But yeah, that's all I got. Catch some of my gaming live streams.